Sit quietly for a moment. Just pause whatever it is you are doing, wherever you are, and listen. There's a question that has haunted every great mind in human history. It is the same question that kept men like Napoleon Hill searching for 20 years, interviewing over 500 of the most successful people to ever live. The question is not how to get rich. It is not how to be happy. The question is this: why do some people, born with nothing, rise to the top of the world, while others, gifted with every advantage, fade into silence? Why does one seed become a great oak, and another, planted in the same soil, remain a struggling weed? The answer is not in the soil. It is not in the seed. The answer is in a secret that most people walk past every single day without ever noticing. It hides in plain sight. It has been written about for thousands of years, whispered by philosophers, studied by mystics, and finally, codified by a man who dedicated his entire life to understanding the human mind. You have 90 days ahead of you. That is all. Just 90 days. What you do with them will determine the next 10 years of your life. Most people will let those days slip through their fingers like water. They will wake up 90 mornings from now in the exact same place, wondering where the time went. But you are different. You are still listening. You are still searching. And that means something. So tonight, we are going to talk about what you must do for the next 90 days. Not what you should do, not what you could do. What you must do if you want to change the direction of your life forever. Listen closely. This is not motivation. This is instruction. There is a sickness that has infected the modern mind. It moves silently. It spreads without warning. And the most dangerous part is this: those who carry it rarely know they are sick. It is not a virus. You cannot see it under a microscope. You cannot treat it with medicine. But it is more dangerous than any disease that has ever swept across the continents, because it eats away at the one thing you can never get back. The one thing that is given equally to every human being who draws breath. Time. This sickness has a name, though it is not found in any medical textbook. It is called scattered thought. Think for a moment about your own mind. Not about your circumstances. Not about your problems. Just your mind. Where has it been today? Really? Where has it traveled in the past few hours? If you are honest with yourself, you will notice something unsettling. Your mind has been everywhere and nowhere at once. It has been in the past, replaying conversations that cannot be changed. It has been in the future, worrying about events that may never happen. It has been in a dozen different places, but rarely, if ever, has it been fully present in this single moment, right here, right now. This is the human condition in the modern age. We have more information at our fingertips than any generation in history. We have devices that can connect us to anyone, anywhere, instantly. And yet, we have never been more distracted. We have never been more fragmented. Watch yourself tomorrow. Watch how many times you start a task, only to find your hand reaching for the phone 30 seconds later. Watch how many times a worry about something that hasn't happened yet interrupts your ability to focus on what is happening now. Watch how many times you sit down to think, really think, and within minutes, your mind has drifted to something else entirely. The average person lives their entire life in this fog. They wake up with good intentions. They have dreams tucked away in the corners of their heart. They have desires that flicker like candles in the wind. But their mind is like a cup of water held by a shaking hand. By the time evening comes, by the time they lay their head on the pillow, most of that water is on the floor, and they are left lying in the darkness, wondering why they feel so empty, why they work so hard but accomplish so little, why another day has passed, and they are no closer to the life they say they want. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying this phenomenon, not in a laboratory, but in the field. He sat at the feet of the most successful men of his era: Andrew Carnegie, Henry Ford, Thomas Edison, Charles M. Schwab. He interviewed over 500 people who had achieved things that most people only dream about. And what he discovered was not what you might expect. These were not men who were simply lucky. They were not born with silver spoons in their mouths. In fact, most of them started with nothing. Many of them faced hardships that would have crushed the average person. But they possessed one quality that set them apart from the millions of others who were grinding away in factories and fields, working just as hard, but going nowhere. They had mastered the art of focused thought. Andrew Carnegie, the poorest immigrant boy who became the richest man in America, once shared something with Hill that has been passed down through the generations. He said that the average person uses only a tiny fraction of their mental capacity, not because they are stupid, not because they are lazy, but because they have never learned how to gather their thoughts into a single, burning point of intensity. Think about the sun on an ordinary day. It is warm against your skin. It is pleasant. It lights the world, but it cannot light a fire. You can sit in the sun all day with a pile of dry wood, and nothing will happen. The wood will remain wood. Now imagine the same sun, the same rays, but this time, they are passed through a magnifying glass. They are focused onto a single spot on a single piece of dry wood. Within moments, something changes. Smoke rises. A tiny ember glows. Then a flame appears. And that flame, if tended, can grow into a fire that warms a house, that cooks a meal, that illuminates the darkness and keeps the wild animals at bay. Your mind is the sun. Your thoughts are the rays. But without a lens, without a point of focus, that power is wasted. It spreads out in every direction. It dissipates into the vast atmosphere of your daily life. And you are left feeling tired, frustrated, and confused, wondering why you have so much potential but so little to show for it. Most people spend their lives searching for someone to blame. They blame the economy. They blame their boss. They blame their parents. They blame their upbringing. They blame the government. They blame their spouse. They blame their lack of education. And while each of these things may play a role, not one of them is the root cause. The root cause is closer than you think. It is inside your own skull. Your mental energy is leaking out of 1,000 tiny holes, like water from a cracked pot. You wake up every morning with a certain amount of mental fuel. You try to fill the pot with good intentions, but by midday, half of it has leaked away into worry, into distraction, into the endless scrolling, into the mental clutter that fills the modern mind. By evening, the pot is empty again, and you go to sleep, only to wake up and do it all over tomorrow. This is the hidden problem. This is the invisible trap that keeps the average person exactly where they are, year after year, decade after decade, wondering why life feels so hard and why success seems to happen to other people. You cannot solve this problem by working harder. You cannot solve it by sleeping more. You cannot solve it by reading another self-help book or listening to another motivational speech while you drive to a job you hate. You can only solve it by learning to plug the holes, by learning to gather your scattered thoughts and focus them on one thing for a sustained period of time, until that one thing begins to glow, then smoke, then burst into flame. And that is what the next 90 days are for. There is a second problem. It runs deeper than scattered thought. It is more subtle, more deceptive, and far more dangerous. And unlike the first problem, which is about how you think, this one is about what you believe. It is the belief that circumstances control destiny. Look at the world around you. Not the world of news and politics, but the world of ordinary people going about their ordinary lives. Watch how they react when something goes wrong. Watch where they point their finger. When a man loses his job, what does he say? He says the economy is bad. The boss was unfair. The company was mismanaged. He points outward, because pointing outward costs nothing. It requires no change. It requires no growth. It allows him to remain exactly as he is, comforted by the lie that he is a good person trapped in a bad world. When a woman struggles in her relationships, what does she say? She says men are unreliable. People are selfish. No one understands her. Again, the finger points outward. Again, the blame lands anywhere but where it belongs. This is the mental trap, and it is built on a foundation that feels solid but is actually quicksand. The foundation is this: the belief that you are the victim of your environment, that what happens to you matters more than what happens in you, that your circumstances determine your fate. Napoleon Hill spent 20 years studying this question. He sat across from the most successful men of his generation. He asked them about their childhoods. He asked them about their struggles. He asked them about the moments when everything seemed to go wrong. And what he found shattered the victim mentality forever. The men and women who achieve great things do not have better circumstances than anyone else. In many cases, their circumstances are far worse. They face the same obstacles. They encounter the same setbacks. They experience the same disappointments. But they respond differently. Think about Helen Keller. She could not see. She could not hear. She was trapped in a world of darkness and silence, unable to communicate, unable to connect, unable to experience life as others do. By every external measure, her circumstances were hopeless. If anyone had a right to blame the universe, to curl up in bitterness and wait for death, it was her. But she did not. She became one of the most influential women in history. She wrote books. She gave speeches. She moved mountains with her mind, not because her circumstances changed, but because she refused to be controlled by them. Think about Abraham Lincoln. He failed in business. He lost 8 elections. He suffered a nervous breakdown. The woman he loved died young. He faced ridicule and criticism from every direction. And yet, he became the president who saved the United States. He became the man who ended slavery. He became the face of courage carved into stone on a mountainside. Think about Thomas Edison. His teachers told him he was too stupid to learn anything. He was fired from his first 2 jobs for being unproductive. He failed 10,000 times before he invented the light bulb. 10,000 failures. Most people would have quit after 10. Most people would have used those failures as proof that they were not meant to succeed. But Edison did not see failure the way others do. He saw it as education. He saw it as progress. He saw it as one more way that would not work, bringing him one step closer to the one way that would. These people did not succeed because the world was kind to them. They succeeded because they understood something that most people never grasp. They understood that circumstances do not make the man. They reveal him. Napoleon Hill called this understanding the principle of definiteness of purpose. But before you can understand that principle, you must first understand the enemy it defeats. The enemy is indecision. Indecision is the weed that grows in the garden of the undisciplined mind. It looks harmless at first. A little doubt here, a little hesitation there, a little uncertainty about which path to take. But left unchecked, it spreads. It sends its roots deep into the soil of your consciousness. It chokes out the flowers of ambition. It consumes the nutrients of opportunity. And before you know it, your entire mental garden is nothing but weeds, thick and tangled and impossible to remove. Most people are indecisive about the one thing that matters most, the one thing that determines everything else. They are indecisive about what they actually want. Walk onto any street in any city. Stop 100 people. Ask them one simple question. What do you want from life? Listen to their answers. They will tell you they want to be happy. They will tell you they want to be successful. They will tell you they want to be healthy. They will tell you they want to be loved. These are not goals. These are wishes. And wishes are just another form of indecision dressed up in pretty clothes. When you are indecisive about what you want, your mind is nothing to hold on to. It wanders. It drifts. It latches onto whatever shiny object appears in front of it. And because your mind is the control center for your entire life, your actions follow your thoughts. If your thoughts are scattered, your actions will be scattered. And scattered actions produce no results. You end up spinning your wheels, working hard, putting in the hours, but going nowhere. You confuse motion with progress. You confuse effort with achievement. You mistake being busy for being productive. And all the while, the years are passing. The clock is ticking. The hair grays. The face wrinkles. The energy fades. And you are still standing in the same place, wondering why life has passed you by. But here's the truth that changes everything. The truth that, if you can absorb it tonight, will begin working in your mind like yeast in dough, rising slowly, transforming everything from the inside out. Your mind is not a passenger in the vehicle of your life. It is the driver. It holds the wheel. It presses the pedals. It chooses the destination. And it will take you wherever you tell it to go. The problem is, most people never give it directions. Now we arrive at the heart of the matter. We have walked through the darkness long enough. We have identified the sickness of scattered thought. We have named the trap of blaming circumstances. And now, We stand at the threshold of something different. Something that has the power to change not just how you think, but who you are. It is the principle that Napoleon Hill placed at the very beginning of his life's work. The foundation upon which every great fortune, every great invention, every great life has been built. He called it definiteness of purpose. But do not let the simplicity of those words fool you. This is not a concept to be understood and filed away. This is a force. It is the most powerful force in the human experience, because it harnesses every other law of nature and bends them toward your desire. It is the engine that drives the ship. It is the wind in the sails. It is the compass that points true north when every other instrument has failed. When you have a definite purpose, something remarkable happens inside your mind. It is not gradual. It is not something you notice over time. It happens in an instant, the moment the decision is made. You stop being a victim of your environment and become a creator of it. You stop reacting to life and start directing it. You stop asking what is going to happen to you, and you start deciding what you are going to make happen. Think about a ship leaving the harbor. Any ship. It does not matter how large or how small. If the captain does not set a destination, if he simply points the boat toward the open sea and hopes for the best, what will happen? The wind will push him one way. The current will push him another. He will drift aimlessly, day after day, until his supplies run out, and he will perish alone on the water, surrounded by nothing but the vast indifference of the sea. But if that same captain sets a destination, if he charts a course for a specific port 500 miles away, everything changes. The wind and current that once worked against him now become tools. He adjusts the sails. He trims the rudder. He uses the very forces that would have destroyed him to carry him exactly where he wants to go. The same wind that sinks the drifting ship fills the sails of the ship with purpose. This is the secret that Napoleon Hill uncovered in his 20 years of research. It is the secret that Andrew Carnegie whispered to him in the beginning. The secret that sent Hill on his journey to interview over 500 successful people. It is this. The universe is filled with invisible forces. Some call it luck. Some call it fate. Some call it God. Hill called it infinite intelligence. And he discovered that this intelligence responds to the human mind in a very specific way. It is not random. It is not chaotic. It follows a law as precise as the law of gravity, as reliable as the rising of the sun. When your mind is fixed upon a definite purpose, it begins to attract the people, the circumstances, and the opportunities necessary to fulfill that purpose. Not by magic, not by wishful thinking, but by a law that has operated since the beginning of time. Think about it this way. Have you ever bought a new car? Not just any car, but a specific model, a specific color, something you had wanted for a long time? And then, after you bought it, something strange happened. You started seeing that same car everywhere. On the highway, in the parking lot, in your neighbor's driveway. Were those cars not there before? Of course they were. They were always there. You just never noticed them. Your mind was not tuned to that frequency. It was not looking for that particular thing. But once you bought the car, once you focused your attention on it, your brain began filtering the world differently. It began showing you what you were looking for. The same principle applies to your purpose. When you fix your mind on a definite goal, your brain begins scanning the environment for anything that might help you reach it. You notice opportunities that were always there but invisible to you before. You meet people who can help you, people you would have walked past without a second glance. You overhear conversations that contain exactly the information you needed. You pick up books that fall open to the page you were meant to read. This is not coincidence. This is not luck. This is law. But here's where most people fail. And this is important, so listen closely. They know they should have a goal. They have heard it 100 times. They write one down on New Year's Eve, on a piece of paper, with good intentions and a glass of something warm in their hand. They feel excited for a week, maybe 2. They make a little progress. They feel the thrill of possibility. Then life happens. The routine returns. The bills arrive. The boss makes demands. The children need attention. The goal gets buried under the weight of daily existence, layer by layer, until by February, by the time the snow begins to melt, they have forgotten they ever had one. The piece of paper is lost in a drawer somewhere, or thrown away, or buried under other papers. And they are right back where they started, wondering why nothing ever changes. A definite purpose is not something you write on a piece of paper and forget. It is not a resolution you make once a year and then abandon. It is something you must burn into your consciousness. It must become the dominant thought of your mind, morning, noon, and night. It must be the first thing you think about when you wake and the last thing you think about before you sleep. It must live in you the way blood lives in your veins, silently, constantly, invisibly powering everything you do. Napoleon Hill called this process autosuggestion. It is the bridge between your conscious mind and the subconscious. It is the mechanism by which you take a thought that exists only in your imagination, only in the realm of possibility, and plant it deep in the soil of your being, where it can grow roots and eventually bear fruit. For the next 90 days, this must become your practice. Not your hobby, not your occasional interest. Your practice, your discipline, your way of living. Because a purpose that is not fed every day will starve. A fire that is not stoked every morning will die. And you cannot afford to let this fire die. Not now. Not when you are this close to understanding something that most people never grasp. The next 90 days are not about trying harder. They are about becoming different. They are about making the principle of definiteness of purpose so deeply a part of you that it operates automatically, without effort, without struggle, without force. And when that happens, everything changes. There is a quality that separates the achievers from the dreamers. It is not talent, though talent helps. It is not intelligence, though intelligence matters. It is not luck, though luck plays its part. It is something deeper, something that cannot be measured by any test or seen by any eye. It is the quality that determines, in the end, who rises and who falls, who succeeds and who merely wishes. That quality is faith. Now, when you hear that word, do not limit it to religion. Do not confine it to churches or temples or holy books. Faith, in the sense that Napoleon Hill used it, is a state of mind. It is a way of seeing. It is the ability to perceive the invisible, to feel the intangible, to know with certainty that what you are working toward, what you cannot yet hold in your hands, what you cannot yet see with your eyes, will one day be yours. The great achievers of history all possess this quality. Not some of them, all of them. It was not an accident. It was not a coincidence. It was the engine that drove everything they did. Think about Andrew Carnegie, the poor Scottish immigrant who became the richest man in America. Long before he owned a single steel mill, long before he had $1 to his name, he saw an empire in his mind. He saw the bridges and the skyscrapers and the railroads that would one day be built with his steel. He saw it so clearly, so vividly, that it was more real to him than the poverty that surrounded him. And because he saw it, because he held that vision with unshakable faith, the world eventually bent itself to meet his expectation. Think about Henry Ford. When he dreamed of an automobile in every driveway, people laughed at him. The horse was the mode of transportation. The rich had their carriages. The poor walked. The idea that every family would one day own a horseless carriage seemed absurd. But Ford did not see the world as it was. He saw the world as it would become. He held that vision through years of failure, through bankruptcy, through ridicule, until the world caught up to what he already knew. Think about Thomas Edison. He did not invent the light bulb by accident. He did not stumble upon it while looking for something else. He saw it first in his mind. He saw the filament glowing. He saw the darkness pushed back. He saw the streets of America lit up like noon at midnight. And then he spent years, 10,000 failures, trying to make the physical world match the picture in his head. Each failure was not a defeat. It was simply another step toward making the vision real. This is not fantasy. This is not escapism. This is the way the human mind was designed to work. Consider the architect designing a great building. Does he start with bricks and mortar? Does he begin by digging the foundation and mixing the concrete? No, he starts with a drawing. He starts with a vision in his mind of what the building will look like when it is finished. He sees the lines and the curves. He sees the light coming through the windows. He sees people moving through the halls. Only after the vision is clear, only after every detail has been imagined, Does he begin gathering the materials and directing the workers? Your life is the building. Your mind is the architect. And if you do not have a clear blueprint in your mind, if you have not seen the finished product with the eyes of faith, the workers, your thoughts, your actions, your habits, your daily choices will have nothing to build. They will wander around, picking up bricks and putting them down, moving dirt from one pile to another, never creating anything permanent. You will be busy, you will be tired, but you will have nothing to show for it. The difference between the achiever and the dreamer is not that the achiever never doubts. The achiever doubts. The achiever fears. The achiever lies awake at night wondering if it will ever work. But the achiever has learned something that the dreamer has not. The achiever has learned to hold the vision despite the evidence of the senses. When things go wrong, and they will go wrong, the dreamer abandons the vision. The dreamer says, "I knew it was too good to be true. I knew I wasn't meant to succeed." This failure proves it. The achiever does something different. The achiever adjusts the plan, but never lets go of the purpose. The achiever says, "This did not work. That is all. Now I know one more way that will not work, and I am closer to the way that will." Most people give up at the first sign of trouble. They interpret failure as proof that their goal was impossible. But failure is not proof of impossibility. Failure is simply feedback. It is the universe telling you that your current approach is not working and that you need to try something different. It is not a stop sign. It is a D2 sign. Thomas Edison failed 10,000 times before he invented the light bulb. 10,000 times. Imagine the faith required to continue after 100 failures. After 500. After 1,000. Most people would have quit long before. Most people would have used those failures as evidence that they were chasing a fantasy. But when a reporter asked Edison how it felt to fail so many times, Edison looked at him with genuine confusion. He said, "I have not failed. I have just found 10,000 ways that won't work." This is the mindset of the achiever. This is the faith that moves mountains. Not faith that the mountain will disappear. Not faith that the path will be easy, but faith that you have the strength to climb. Faith that every setback is a setup for a comeback. Faith that the vision in your mind is more real than the obstacles in your path. For the next 90 days, you must cultivate this faith. You must learn to see your purpose as already accomplished, even when everything around you suggests otherwise. You must become so obsessed with your vision, so filled with the certainty of its coming, that doubt has no room to enter. Doubt cannot live where faith is strong. They cannot occupy the same space, because doubt is the killer of dreams. Doubt is the voice that whispers in the night, "You are not good enough. You are not smart enough. You do not have what it takes. Who do you think you are?" And if you listen to that voice, if you give it even a moment of your attention, it will grow. It will spread. It will paralyze you. It will keep you small. It will keep you safe and miserable, trapped in the prison of your own making. But faith is the key that unlocks the door. Faith is the light that shows the way through the darkness. Faith is the force that turns ordinary men and women into achievers. And it is available to you right now, in this moment, if you choose to receive it. There comes a moment in every great journey when something shifts inside you. It is not loud. It does not announce itself with trumpets or fireworks or dramatic fanfare. It is quiet, like the moment just before dawn, when the darkness seems deepest, but the first hint of light is already touching the horizon. You cannot see the sun yet. You cannot feel its warmth. But you know, with a certainty that goes beyond logic, that it is coming. This is the moment of awakening. For the past 4 sections, we have been laying the groundwork. We have walked together through the darkness, identifying the problems that keep most people trapped. We have named the sickness of scattered thought, the way your mental energy leaks out through 1,000 tiny holes until you are empty by evening. We have exposed the trap of blaming circumstances, the lie that your environment controls your destiny. We have explored the principle of definiteness of purpose, the force that harnesses the universe and bends it toward your desire. And we have examined the quality of faith, the ability to see the invisible and hold the vision when everything around you says let go. But now we come to the place where the road divides. Now we come to the moment that determines everything. Now we come to the question that only you can answer in the silence of your own heart, with no one watching, no one judging, no one applauding or criticizing. What are you going to do with the next 90 days? Not what are you going to think about doing. Not what are you going to hope will happen. Not what are you going to tell yourself you might get around to someday. When the time is right, when the conditions are perfect, when the stars align. What are you going to do? Napoleon Hill wrote that thoughts are things. He wrote that the human mind has the power to transform itself, to reshape its circumstances, to attract whatever it dwells upon. But he also wrote something else, something that is often forgotten by those who only skim his work. He wrote that thoughts alone are not enough. Thoughts must be combined with definiteness of purpose, with persistence, with a burning desire that consumes all obstacles before they can be transmuted into their physical equivalent. You can think about a fire all day, but you will not be warm. You can think about food all day, but you will not be fed. You can think about success all day, but you will not move 1 inch closer to it. Thinking is the beginning, but thinking is not the end. You have 90 days. That is roughly 1/4 of a single year. It is 12 weeks. It is 86,400 minutes, if you want to count them. It is enough time to plant a garden and watch it grow from seed to harvest. It is enough time to build a habit so deeply into your nervous system that it becomes automatic, as natural as breathing. It is enough time to change the entire direction of your life, to set in motion forces that will carry you forward for years to come. But only if you start, only if you begin, only if you take that first step, however small, however uncertain, however trembling. Most people will hear these words and feel something stir inside them. A flicker of recognition, a moment of clarity. They will nod their heads in the darkness. They will feel a warmth in their chest, a sense of possibility, a feeling that maybe, just maybe, things could be different. And then tomorrow, they will wake up. The alarm will ring. The routine will call. The familiar gravity of their old life will pull them back into orbit. They will do exactly what they did yesterday, and the day before, and the year before. The inspiration will fade like morning mist. The moment will pass, and 90 days from now, they will be right back here, listening to another video, reading another book, searching for another secret, wondering why nothing ever changes. Do not be one of those people. You have been given a gift tonight. Not a small gift, not a trivial gift, a great gift. You have been given a map, not a map to someone else's treasure, but a map to your own. The map shows you where the treasure is buried. It shows you the path. It shows you the obstacles. It shows you what you must do. But a map is useless if you do not take the first step. A map is useless if you fold it up and put it in a drawer and forget about it. A map is useless if you look at it every day, trace the routes with your finger, dream about the destination, but never leave the house. The treasure is waiting for you. It has always been waiting for you. It is not in some distant land, across an ocean, behind a locked door. It is inside you. It is the person you were born to become. It is the life you were meant to live. It is the work you were meant to do, the love you were meant to give, the mark you were meant to leave on this world before you return to the dust from which you came. But you have to go after it. You have to dig. You have to get your hands dirty. You have to fail and get back up. You have to persist when every cell in your body wants to quit. You have to hold the vision when the world tells you it is impossible. This is the awakening. This is the moment when you realize, truly realize, deep in your bones, that no one is coming to save you. No one is going to hand you the life you want. The government is not coming. Your family is not coming. Your friends are not coming. The universe is not going to part the clouds and lower a ladder for you to climb. It is just you, and the next 90 days, and the choice that only you can make. What are you going to do with them? Tomorrow morning, when you wake up, you will have a choice. You will have the same choice you have every morning, but tomorrow it will mean something more. You can drift through the day, reacting to whatever happens, letting the current carry you wherever it wants, ending the night exhausted and empty, wondering where the hours went. Or you can take control. You can sit down with a pen and a piece of paper in the quiet of the early morning, before the world wakes up and starts making its demands. You can write down exactly what you want. Not what you think you can get. Not what seems reasonable. Not what other people would approve of. What you truly, deeply, burning desire. Write it down. Read it aloud. Close your eyes and see it is already done. Feel the emotions of having achieved it. Let the joy wash over you. Let the gratitude fill your heart. Let the certainty settle into your bones. And then, open your eyes, stand up, and take one step toward it. Just one step. One small action. One phone call. One page written. 1 mile run. One conversation started. 1 hour of study. One thing that moves you forward. Do that tomorrow. Do it the next day. Do it for 90 days. And on the 91st day, when you look back at where you started, you will be amazed. Not because the world changed. Not because luck finally found you. Not because the universe decided to be kind. But because you changed. You became the kind of person who does not just dream. You became the kind of person who does. This is the teaching of Napoleon Hill. This is the wisdom of the ages, passed down through the generations, whispered in the ear of every soul who ever achieved greatness. This is your moment. Do not waste it.